Good morning, America. This is the Cats Roundtable, and this is John Catsimatidis, and it's Sunday morning, and I hope everybody's having a good holiday weekend. Well, there's a lot of conflicts going on in the world. With us this morning is Dr. William Parker, Chief Operating Officer of the East-West Institute, a global organization focused on the prevention and resolution of international conflicts. And we have a lot of them. He was a former naval officer, and he served as Chief of Staff to the U.S. Navy Fleet. Good morning, Dr. Parker. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking, and it's great to be on your show.
Bring us up to date. What's going on in the North Korean situation? It's on everybody's mind. It's on every cable channel. What's going on?
That's a great question. And when you look at North Korea, they are no real strategic challenge to the United States, but they are a capable force, and we need to take them seriously. So the U.S. still has the most powerful military force in the world, where North Korea is ranked as the 25th military overall. Both our country and theirs have nuclear weapons, but the U.S. has thousands and the ability to miniaturize, where North Korea has 10 to 20 and no ability to miniaturize right now. Nor does North Korea have strategic launch ballistic missile capability, and they currently do not have intercontinental ballistic missile capability, but they're getting there. North Korea has about 75 submarines. The United States has 70. They have about 950 aircraft compared to our 13,000, and they have about 700,000 in their active duty compared to our 1.4 million. So they still have a very significant military. Now, as far as bringing you up to today, I think that first requires us to take a look back at what has gotten us here to this point. So as we do that, we look back and say that to date, the United States has not signed a formal peace treaty with the Koreans after the war, nor have we granted full diplomatic recognition to North Korea. But in 1953, the United Nations Command North Korea and China signed the Korean War Armistice, which effectively ended the war. So that armistice has fundamentally formed or prevented or acted as a permanent truce. So that sounded good until 1994, when North Korea decided that they were going to withdraw from the Non-Proliferation Treaty.
It seems like President Trump, in his form of the art of the deal, has the rumor is he's broken a deal with the Chinese that you guys take care of North Korea and we'll take care of your currency problems. But the other shocking thing is that they have 75 submarines. Isn't that a lot for a country the size of North Korea?
It is a very large number for a country the size of North Korea. Many of these are very small submarines, but still capable of inflicting damage. The art of the deal is absolutely the approach that's being taken. The president says that all options are on the table, and I think we should take him at his word from that when we look at recent history of how he's dealt with Syria and other issues. So I believe we are heading in a direction to say all of those options are on the table, and stand by if you do not respond the way we expect you to. I think that his interaction with the Chinese has been a very positive thing, and you could hear just last Wednesday that the Chinese went to the North Koreans formally and said, you need to take possible military action from the United States seriously.
Tell us about their missile capability. Do any of those submarines have missile capability?
That's a great question, and I'm sure it's one that the intelligence community is asking as well. They have advertised that they have submarine-launched ballistic missile capability. I do not believe they are there yet. However, their latest test was in late August of 2016. They said that it was successful. I do not believe it was from the footage I saw. They also have missile capability that they are building, and it is a significant growth. When you look at the Nodong, which has about 1,000-kilometer capability, it means it can reach South Korea and Japan. The Taepodong-1 can reach out to Guam, and remember Guam, one of our territories. The Musadon can reach out about 4,000 kilometers, so now you're into Indonesia. And then the Taepodong-2 is 2,600 kilometers, so now you're reaching into as far as some of the outreaches of Alaska. And what's more important is that they are now shifting from liquid fuel to solid fuel. Once they are able to shift to solid fuel, it means their ranges are going to extend significantly. But in addition to that, they have to be able to miniaturize their weapons.
Do our intelligence forces, are we capable of tracking where those 75 submarines are? I had dinner with some friends last night, and they said to me, well, my daughter is in California. Should I tell her to come back to New York?
No, I tell you what, the United States Navy combined with the other services in our intelligence forces do a pretty darn good job of tracking where the world's submarines and many other forces are. Does that mean we have 100% confidence all the time of where those submarines are? No, it's a very complicated environment because you have to take into account the temperature, pressure, and salinity of the water column as you're doing your assessment and tracking these submarines. So it's not like looking at an airplane in the air. You're looking through a water column, which is more complicated. But we track submarines better than any other country in the world by a factor of many.
What is the likelihood of something happening where we're forced to take a action in North Korea, and how does North Korea react?
That's a great question. I think the likelihood is there. I think there are several different options on the table. I think there are basically 5 options. China could put economic, diplomatic, and military pressure on North Korea to the point where the North Koreans decide this isn't worth it anymore. I think some of that could happen, but not real likely. Secondly, world sanctions will have to have an immediate impact. Fuel is one of the big ones, quite frankly, because they don't have a real fuel reserve. Third, there could be some sort of significant military action. That significant military action can have a lot of impact on Americans because there are so many Americans in the region over there, and we can get into that a little bit more if you'd like to. Next, there is the possibility of working with Kim Jong-un and actually bringing him back to the negotiating table as a mature member of the international community. I don't think that's likely in the near future. And finally, there could be some sort of treaty where what North Korea would really like is a bilateral treaty between the United States and North Korea ending the quote, war. I don't see that in the near future until such point as they stop their weapons advancements that they're working so hard on right now.
When we did Syria, we had the full support of NATO and almost everybody except probably Russia and Iran. Do we have the full support of what we're doing with North Korea right now in that Asia area?
I think our Pacific partners have been waiting for the U.S. to get after this issue for a long time. So I think we would have their support. I think the Chinese would be concerned on several levels. I think they're concerned from the level of their economy being impacted, of the number of refugees that could possibly come over their border. This is if we're talking about a kinetic event of some sort where you actually have combat. I think they're concerned about if you have that event, what of those war events, to include explosions, oil in the water, et cetera, would impact their part of the world. So the biggest part is the economy and the impact of the economy on China. So I think they would rather have a stable part of the region. But China, I think, would be one that would be willing to, and looks like they are actually in the process of coming together with the United States a little bit and working towards this issue together.
We got about a minute left, Doctor. What do you want to tell the American people to make them feel more comfortable this weekend?
I will tell you that kicking the can down the road for the next generation of the next leader to deal with it is rarely a good idea. So whether we're talking about the U.S. national debt, Russia expanding influence in the Crimea, Assad's increase of tyranny to include the use of chemical weapons, or North Korea's multi-decade efforts to develop long-range nuclear weapons strike capability, you can't keep kicking these down the road. These are issues that are usually best dealt with earlier than later. Making the hard decision is what the president is elected to do, and while it may not always be popular, this president is stepping up and making those hard decisions. These are very serious issues, and they require very thoughtful and timely responses.
Dr. Parker, thank you so much for being with us this Sunday morning. God bless America, and God bless all the great things you've done for our country.
Thank you very much. God bless you as well.